Ladies and gentlemen, there is drama been drama. You know, most of the time I usually find hearing that it's just a matter of time for all these things to blow out. And they're blowing out because it was choreographed, planned, just to meet just a specific objective. The objective is all these things was happening so that they blame Marwa with it. Why am I headed with this kind of explanation? Because majority of people sometimes can ask. There are a lot of things I want to talk about. One, Gintu came and spoke out on the predicaments or on the trial of Mayani. A lot of things were revealed on there. Secondly, AMQAROL came and accused Marwa widely of the things, shenanigans that's happening with Mayani. All of it is a wild claim and accusations against Marwa. We are going also to delve on that going forward. Thirdly, all the naysayers have been speaking all kind of rubbish and verbiage about DEEMWANGO. And as DEEMWANGO has grabbed that kind of a spotlight to tell these people she can still love and she can be loved as yet. And this is what is sending jitters and sending jealousness on the camp of naysayers. I want to narrow it down and I'll be speaking specifically on three people on trending, AMQAROL and Black Beauty, or even Coco Mama. There is revelation that I want this trajectory or this topic to gear towards to. Are you there? So there is a lot of things that is happening. So guys, if you're coming across this channel for the very first time, kindly click at the notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, YouTube shall notify instantly. To my loyal subscriber, may God bless you abundantly. So let's dive in after the break. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Inazak and this is my YouTube channel. So guys, I just want to put it so clearly and let's dive in straight away. Gintu came up and spoke it out, the misery and the predicament of only Mayani's trial and the court. It was drama been drama. Do you remember most of the time I've been telling you, and even I told you, that the issue of defilement itself is not easy. It was the first day that Mayani was going to take the witness stand just to take a plea. The charge sheet is being read to you, then you're being told whether it's true or not. So it's either yes or no. Yes or no will grant you a particular kind of a verdict from the honorable judge or the honorable magistrate. That's what is done. So Mayani was taken to court and exactly the plea was taken. And as we speak now, Mayani is remanded at the Migori Maximum Prison pending the second hearing. We are being told the bail was handed over. It was not the cash bail, but it was the bond. And I'm going to explain the reasons why the bond, it's being guaranteed. It is not only the bond, it is a bond of a substantial worth of a value. And with a surety, which is commensurate with that kind of value. So the two things, which is a hell to very many people at this Christendom, because if you get the person who will grant you that kind of bond itself, there is a characteristics of you that you must possess. And even the title deed that you want to give as a bond itself, it must not have any kind of a doubt. So these are the predicament and the ordeal that Gintu went through. And these are the legal ramifications and the legal effect that before you do any wrong onto somebody or onto any other people thinking that cash bail is there, my friend, that is not how court is dealing. We are also going to unearth the types of bonds. There are very many, but I'm just going to differentiate between the cash bond, the cash bail, and the bond itself. Then we look at the various types, how sometimes the magistrate arrived at a figure that you are being awarded to as a suspected criminal within the court. So guys, perhaps let us not waste a lot of time, but watch
the
it's
way
Gintu
and
lamenting
for
over here.
Mayani to be accused and get to how did they get this kind of the photocopies, the copies of the birth certificate for this kind of the lady. And when the judge asked about where is the original certificate, they talked about they don't have it. How did they get that kind of a copy of talk about a certificate with a birth certificate of the lady, and who told them that the lady is 13-14 years? So you can quote my word, much of the texted, they talk about this kind of the messages that were texted are the ones that are being used there, because how the text were reading is talking about he's having a lady who is 13-14 years are there, and that's how the messages were reading. And when we go back to the statement talking about he has ever inserted his male part to the female part of this kind of the lady who is accused. And when I come to this kind of the point again, we go back to the text. It was reading that Mayani has married, and this was how the text were written, and this kind of the person they were communicating about. So you can get where the case is coming from. So I can just you can now understand the real fact about where this kind of the case is coming from and where it's just heading. And to the real fact is when this kind of the things missed, the judge talked about what now the case will be just heard on 13th May 2025 in the same room, court 2, which is court 2, and making sure that I'm gonna be hearing. And he announced that this kind of the accused person will just only get out to be free or do the case outside with a bond of 100,000 or an asset. Talking about you're gonna be bringing any kind of the pay slip. I talk about the pay slip was number 1 that was mentioned. Talk about a title deed was number 2, or you can use a logbook. Either talk about a logbook of either a motorbike, which is worth. So when we talked about, okay, now we have got that it's a bond. So what do we have? Gintu, the father to Mayani, Fundi Duke. We had the cousin to
several kind of things. The ordeal. I tell you at this moment, the ordeal itself, the reasons why the title deed was given, and the reasons why all this has to be done, they needed for evaluation, so that they know that the piece of land or the piece of asset you're giving it out, it's at exact kind of amount. It should be exact, not beyond. Exact. So that's why the surveyor would come and check everything. You'll be sent to the registrar to write a letter just to certify copies to be said that the evaluation of this land has been done. Therefore, the said land should not be having a pending land rates. And you must, the owner of the land must be paying tax. Even if you don't have work, but as a good citizen, you must be paying tax. And this is now the reasons why you find the dad to Mayani would run back and forth to pay the pending taxes for all these things to be true, to be through. Are you there? So it was a derailment itself, a big process. Are you there? At certain times you'll find such family, most of the family who are seeking bond out will be doing everything and most of it. And then the moment you take these things to the court, therefore it will take verification as well. It can even take another 1 month or even 2 weeks for your issue to be through. That's why I'm telling Gintu, it's not easy. Even at the times that you think you are saying Friday, you're going to get out, Mayani out. My friend, that's not how it's working. It's already in the prison. And then secondly, for the issue of bond itself, you cannot go with it in court. You start at the police station, the investigating officer, who will look at it, write at it, and the police itself is the one to take it to the court and look for the prosecutor. So it times back and forth. So it's not uneasy. And again, at the court, sometimes they might also try to play pinky-punky games. They buy time. At such time when you're going to the registry, you find the clerks are nowhere, which means the judge has given a verdict that you go and present this bond to the registry, on the relevant registry or relevant authorities, so that you get your only Mayanis out. You go there, there's no clerk. You go there, the clerk wants to send you to the police station, back to the police station, takes you to the court itself, give a ruling, then you're being told, now you have to go to the prisons. If you're going to the prison, there is a specific department that deals with the remandees. That is a whole lot. They will send you, they will require several kind of document for Mayani to be out. So, if you're describing this kind of a simple ordeal, though complicated, there is another complicated one is waiting you with the police down, with the judiciary, and to the prison department. Because sometimes, that is where even sometimes file must get lost. Sometimes will get lost. While your person. That is it. So, for those who wanted to go and send a cash bail, no, there's no cash bail. Why did the judge or the magistrate decided to give the bond? You know, the bond are normally being given out if there is money involved or the financial kind of money involved, if the accuser is going to lose particular part of money, or if the court themselves might lose money because they're using money to adjudicate upon that case. So on that trajectory, they will require not of liquid cash, but the fixed asset in terms of a bond and a surety of the same. You deposit them such that when the case is finalized, you get all your money back, plus all the asset. But if the accuser decided not to go to court and decided to disappear, so the owner who is a guarantor, who is granting the suspected criminal all this kind of bond, will lose all this kind of assets and property instantly. So guys, all these things draws our attention to the types of bonds. And specifically, there are very many types and various of it. And they normally being categorized into two. It could be the fiduciary bond or judiciary bond. So the word fiduciary, it could also be a probate. This one, when somebody is administering the probate estate or assestate versus estate. So a fiduciary is a person being appointed by the judge himself, the magistrate himself, to deal with the issue of such kind of estate or of asset. So that is it. So that is not the bond that I want to talk about. So the bond that I want to talk about herein is about the judiciary bond that normally is being given by the judiciary when the court proceeding is ongoing. So basically, it could be a bond or a surety. Sometimes cases are being adjudicated at court or a verdict is given, then you see a person might request a bond through the prosecutor. It might be a plaintiff or a defendant. And secondly, you might find also they have to argue so that other side, both sides must also come with a figure that they can afford. But it leaves squarely on the shoulders of the judges and the magistrate now to come and mediate between. It could be more, it could be less, or in the middle. That's what usually done. And also it mirrors the kind of the criminal case and the proceedings that are in the court. So basically, surety sometimes being given if there is a particular kind of financial loss that may occur to the defendant or the plaintiff. So it's being given itself. So sometimes it must also translate to a bond, that a bond also must also accompany the surety. So the bond sometimes must also be a substantial kind of a value. That's why in the case of Mayani, it was 100,000 bond. But there is also surety in terms of a cash of a similar value itself. Why is it being done so? When somebody requested the judge or the magistrate that they want to do their case or the trial while they're living outside, this is now the bond that you must deposit to the court. So there must be a guarantor. If you don't have it under your name, the guarantor must be there. And there is a characteristic of a guarantor who qualifies. Not everybody can qualify. This person also must prove to have known you for a period of 5 years. And this person must not having any criminal case, must be a law-abiding citizen. So you must go scrutiny. So it's not a walk in the park that today you are being granted a bond, That's why you're seeing after 6 months somebody's still in prison on remand, but the court had given a verdict for this person to deposit the bond and the surety so that she leaves. These are the predicament and the audio that Gintu is saying. Basically, bond is it is an incentive, guarantee that you deposit in the court that an offender will always come back. An offender will always come back for trial, which means if you don't come back on trial, you forfeit all those kind of asset and that surety to the court. That's how you lose it. That's why sometimes it's a risk for you to be a guarantor or for somebody to give them bond, because somebody might decide to disappear. Somebody is a flat risk, which means you forfeit your logbook or your land or title deed plus any other asset that you assured on this person. That's why some people don't want to give it. And that sometimes will happen with the issue of Mayani themselves. So it's just dependent on other issues. So guys, a lot of things also happen because it never
behind the
stopped from there.
scene. I've been listening to almost everything. Although I didn't start with the live, I got it in between there. Guys, it's so messy out there. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know where to place myself on this one. Like, really? If there is something going on in this village, this is the dirtiest of them all that I've had. Especially if it's something that is being triggered by someone else. This is too much. The villagers to the villagers. It's not like now there is someone coming out. Brothers to brothers, now they want to kill each other. People are fighting. People are threatening. What has Nyabohanza come to? What is this? Even if this is the kind of thing that we said that, oh, Marwa is the one who brought all this, division and everything, this one has gone beyond even Marwa himself. Marwa, come down and see what your boys are doing. In the name of, I brought GoPros and I taught people how to do videos. Come down and see what you started in Nyabohanze. I'll be blaming you on this one as well, because you are the one who came out and you told these boys, stop what you're doing. Stop everything. Close the projects, no going to the farm, no doing all these normal things that you usually do. Get your camera, walk around. Start fighting over
what
donors.
Is AMQAROL now
Start
accusing
fighting over
AMQAROL
YouTube.
of the predicament of Mayani, of all the shenanigans that of late is going on in Nyabohanze? About all the GoPros. You know, when AMQAROL brought YouTube, where was Mayani? Where Mayani was continued defiling the minors. Mayani was not present. Where was Gintu? Gintu was very busy doing border and doing certain kind of security work back at home, being a bouncer in particular kind of some clubs. Are you there? Particularly, there was no one who was doing business or any other kind of project. I think the onset of YouTube has showcased these people on how to do project and how to do the business. As at that time, these people were nobody when it comes to project and business itself. The onset of YouTube in Nyabohanze itself is what has drawn the attention of these people to start projects, to start all other kinds of fish ponds. So AMQAROL is not right in her senses of now wants to blame AMQAROL on this kind of issue that is blaming AMQAROL of all the shenanigans that is happening back in the village. So this is what I refer to being a dunce or not being so keen. AMQAROL has just decided to be reckless, because if you don't list your content creation with AMQAROL itself, the views want to be viewing, that is contentless. Perhaps, I mean, it is now the second time I want to take up and speak to the issue of DEEMWANGO that is doing round on this YT street. Because now, there are specifically 3 girls. Let me just refer them to women. They've decided to go berserk on DEEMWANGO. But when you look at their age, they're not commensurate in whatever kind of level. So perhaps this is what is really making them so jitters and jilted in a way. and jealousy itself in its ensuing in. One, DEEMWANGO is a person who wants to get in a relationship. But when you juxtapose DEEMWANGO's situation to all these women, the Black Beauty, the Coco Mama, the On Trending, and the AMQAROL, all of them were disposed, which means they are married. While these people had time to look for Mzungus in this kind of street, they misuse the chances, or maybe there's nothing that Mzungu looked up to them. Why is it now, at this moment, is when they want to discourage the Amaros and the family, whom they are supposed to get married to which kind of race? What is the problem? You know, Carol is married as a second wife. It doesn't matter. The fact is she's married. Therefore, you have got no business of still wants to live DEEMWANGO's life. So why can't you just leave DEEMWANGO alone? If you come again and you look at On Trending, because On Trending was saying, gone are those days when the Mzungus were looking for the slender ladies, not fat ladies, because she was referring to that issue when DEEMWANGO was telling the Mzungu that she's having now, that she doesn't want to be fat. Now, this is where On Trending was coming in, that with them, they were slender and they waited for the Mzungus to come, but nothing happened. So you can understand where they're coming from. Jealousy Gallo. The third time, the number three is Black Beauty. Black Beauty, a Nigerian. Back in the village, tried very many things until it was scooped from Nigeria through the Mediterranean Sea to Germany. Now, she's married to a Mzungu, the old one. It doesn't matter. The fact is a marriage. And now you want to come in this social media street to discourage majority of people never to get these Mzungus. My friend, what is it if it is not jealousy? What is it? The Coco Mama herself is married to a Nigerian. And now you want to discourage D not to be loved and not to get into relationship itself. This is what I normally call the unfathomable kind of irony itself. Because they don't look at themselves. They will always dig the past of DEEMWANGO. The issue is, why can't you just leave this young lady to enjoy his marriage, to enjoy his relationship? It doesn't matter whether that relationship will take 1 week, then it dissolves. The fact is, DEEMWANGO is happy. The fact is, it is none of your business. That is it. So the whole issue itself is a vexations of myriad kind of issue, is because they don't like DEEMWANGO and everything that DEEMWANGO exhibit on this YouTube street. Secondly, it's like they planted their own people who sometimes were the people who were sneaking all the story for reaction and for the negative reaction, the likes of Mitele Ponti and JB, because you're explaining things on JB and you never experience to see JB physically. The good thing is, like, JB used to call you direct and you had the number, and perhaps this is where certain kinds of leakage of the stories were coming from. And on that trajectory, the relationship dissolved. And then when the relationship dissolved, then you people were bitter. Why were you bitter? Because JB was in a relationship with D. Why were you bitter? Because the cut short of the information, of the leakage itself were derailed. You could no longer get information for your own vexations in this YouTube street. Perhaps, let's get your thought at the comment section. Until next time, this is Senior.